Hello there. Welcome to my campfire. My name is Seraphine, the Midnight Bard, and I travel from place to place, seeking the strange, the bizarre, and the unexplained. Our words are our bond, whether we know it or not. When we speak which we desire, we shape the universe around us to a small degree. It is the reason why evocations of purpose begin with the phrase, I will. I will is a phrase said frequently and without much thought. But what happens when we bind ourselves with our words and neglect to follow through? There was once a famous town that learned the hard way why one should strive to keep their word. Cover your ears. Try not to listen, as a voice in the night calls, saying, "Come, little children."
Tonight's story is one you may be partially familiar with. The Piper of Hamelin, sometimes known as the Pied Piper. However, I assure you that despite the many versions out there, this is the true, sad tale, as was passed down to me by firelight from a few bards who claimed to be the Piper's descendants. Here's the tale, as they told it to me. I had come to the village of Hamelin. I had not eaten in 2 days, but I was confident I could find some work. The name Reiner held some small renown to it, though after this I would have to abandon it. The village itself didn't look too good. It was a medium-sized village, but there were many dirty children about in filthy clothing and looking not well kept. I had wondered about this as a few of them took notice of me. My black and white clothing drew the eye well. I made my way to the mayor's home, drawing a look of suspicion from some of the residents as I went. I couldn't blame them too much. People like me could carry the plague after all. The mayor, a man named Derek, would not allow me in his home for the same reason, but did, however, allow for an audience with me behind his home and away from prying eyes and ears. "What do you want, pied stranger?" he asked me with cautious politeness. "I'm looking for work, or to perform in exchange for food, and or perhaps a place to stay for the night," I answered with a slight flourished bow. "You won't find any willing to give you food for a song around here. We don't have enough as it is since the rat troubles. There is, however, a job. A grim one that pays well enough, if you are up for it. 1,000 guilders, in fact. More than enough for food at the very least," he said in a more hushed tone. I didn't like the sound of it much, I admit, but hunger is a powerful motivator, so I asked, "What is this grim job you would pay me so well for?" "Well, you may have noticed we have lots of rats around the village, the street. Verily, you understand. They used to be only orphans of the plague before we got rid of the real rats. Now there is more of them, and they steal, beg, and make mischief around the village. If they are still here in the winter, either they will starve, or we will, either from trying to feed them or being stolen from. So I want you to lead them out of town, into the Weser River, and drown them to be rid of them for good. It is grim, I know, but drowning is a far better way to go than starving and freezing to death come winter. I should have been suspicious there. I should have suspected something. After all, why discuss this with me, a stranger? Well, you will see why. But I was hungry myself, and I had to admit he was entirely wrong. So God help me. I accepted. I accept. I will grant them this mercy, but it is not a proud deed I do. I beg you, keep this between us. The mayor nodded and said solemnly, "You have my word no one will ever hear of this bargain." The snake wasn't lying to me when he said this, it would turn out. I made my way to the edge of the village. I spent an hour in prayer, begging God for forgiveness in what I was about to do. I would also seek it afterwards as well. The next bard Reiner, is remembered for as the Pied Piper of Hamelin, or more commonly merely as the Pied Piper. I strode back into the village in the evening before sunset and began to play on my panpipes a soothing and attractive tune. Without words, it told the children to follow me and do as I said without question, and there would be rewards. I was not lying. As children, they should still have been innocent and therefore without sin, an easy pass into heaven. That is what I told myself anyway. So I stood and kept playing and slowly led them away. We got to the banks of the river and I motioned with my pipes to go into it. I did not need words. The music and my motion said all there was to be said, and like dazzled animals, they walked into the river and it swept them away. Never a cry heard, my magic was so strong. I waited until the next day to call upon the mayor again. He was more clever than I gave him credit for. He fed me a decent meal. In hindsight, he just wanted to make sure I could run for what would come next. Now I won't get into the conversation. It is not something I wish to go over again. There were threats, cursing, and other nastiness not befitting of me. Suffice it to say, I left in an ill mood and swearing vengeance upon him and the village. So, on the day of Mass, I took my vengeance. I came in just before dawn. Now, many people think that it is the pipes that are magical. But no. The magic flows from me. The music, my will and intentions. And I can use it just by singing if I so choose. This day, I used my harp and not the pipes like the people say, because I wanted to sing. I wanted to be heard. So I began to play and sing. Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play. Here in my garden of shadows, shadows. Follow, sweet children. I'll show thee the way. Through all the pain and the sorrows, weep not, poor children, for life is this way. Murdering beauty and passion. Hush now, dear children, it must be this way. Too weary of life and deceptions. Rest now, my children, for soon we'll away into the calm and the quiet. Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. I led them, all of the children coming from their homes to follow me. I led them down the same path as I led the rats. Oh yes, singing the whole way. I led them in anger and vengeance for what they had me do and the refusal to pay me. They followed, totally entranced, and once again I motioned them into the Weser River. And again, no cry was heard as they were swept away. Now, I had heard later that 3 children survived. One was lame, unable to keep up, and the spell broke, leaving her in the woods and me long gone. Another was blind and unable to leave their house. And the last one was deaf. And now the magic does not necessarily need the words to work, nor the music. He was not immune. However, the effect was weaker upon him, and despite feeling compelled, he was more compelled to obey his parents' wishes to stay and go to Mass the next day. It was he who made my name and story infamous. And that is the tale of what really happened. Thank you for tuning in to this week's story, Campfire Gang. Remember to leave a like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you are enjoying my content and would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon link in the description, like these honorary bards. Also, be sure to check out the author's links in the description to see more of their work, or to contact them and tell them how much you enjoyed their story. Be safe out there, friends. I look forward to meeting you again by the light of the campfire.